And what people don't like, they have a tendency to criticize. Like there's people, love them or hate them. There's people, with President Trump. There's people that love him. Mm-hmm. I mean, they literally, he could do the most criminal thing in the world, and it wouldn't change their perspective. 34 felonies. Or you could take people that, he could cut all taxes, and they hate his guts.
Still hate him, yeah, exactly.
So no matter what you do, whatever position, whether president, a pastor, a leader of an institution, CEO, you are going to be criticized. Employees ain't going to like you. Teammates ain't going to like you. They're not going to like decisions you make. And you have to be okay with not making everybody happy. Welcome to the Toddcast. What an honor to have you guys join us for another episode that adds value to your life, adds value to your leadership, adds value to your marriage, your relationships, everything about you. And here's what I want you to know. With the Toddcast, you got to ignore all the others because they're not as good as this Toddcast. Ain't that right, Jordan?
Absolutely the best.
Oh, man. Best. Jordan,
best
you didn't talk much last podcast.
No, just absorbing all the good information.
That was my wife and I talking about relationships. Yeah, people got to go back and watch that, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It was so good.
Watch it 3 times. Yes. One for the Father, one for the Son, and one for the Holy Ghost. It might sink into your spirit at that point.
Yeah, definitely.
It'd be good.
And then one more time for you.
Well, Jordan, we have a winner to talk about.
Yes,
we have many comments on several of the Toddcasts, but only one person had the audacity to actually put their email. And that's all we ask for. Put your email in the comment. And that person is none other than Amaya Mitchell. Congratulations to my future daughter-in-law. Appreciate that.
You get the $50.
$50 gift card to Starbucks.
I could have did it myself, man. Sure did.
It'll be coming soon. I got to tell you, Jordan, this is going to be a tough Toddcast because my allergies are through the roof. How's your allergies?
Oh, yeah, mine are too.
Now, it kind of reminds me when I was in Bible college, when I graduated Bible college, I don't know what year it was, but I've got awarded Young Alumnus of the Year. So I had to go back to my Bible college and speak. But somewhere on the way back to Central Bible College to get my award and speak in front of a couple thousand people at chapel, I got pink eye.
Oh.
My eyes were like bloodshot. And so a friend of mine, Bobby's introducing me for the award to speak, and the Young Alumnus of the Year, Todd Bishop. And I promise you, he wasn't out partying at Evangel University. I was like, oh, wow. My moment. My eyes were so bloodshot, so red, and, it is what it is. I preached the best sermon I could preach with pink eye and exhaustion and all that stuff to go with it. But,
it's tough.
It's tough. Allergies are tough.
They're the worst.
Allergies are tough. But that's not what we're talking about today.
No.
So have you ever thought, man, this person's opinion matters too much to me? Have you ever thought, oh my gosh, what's that person going to think? What are they going to say if I do this? Here's what I want you to get. Here's what we're talking about for the next few minutes. Screw what other people think. Let me say it again. Screw what other people think. Rewind. Screw what other people. They got to hear that, Jordan.
They got to hear it again. And
now,
again.
I'm not talking about being mean or vicious to people. I'm just saying at some point you got to do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So my favorite chapter in my book, Leadership Unleashed. Purchase it today. Is chapter 18. We call it the Peyton Manning chapter because it's called Screw What Other People Think. I don't know why it's 18. Isn't that his number?
I think so.
We don't even know. We're Peyton Manning. Please join us on the podcast. We'll talk about that. Screw what other people think. I've had to learn over the years, Jordan. I don't know if you have too, because you lead worship. You're extremely gifted. You get a lot of criticism.
Yes.
Anytime you're on a stage, a platform, anything visible, you get a lot of criticism. And it's crazy to me because Zooks has said this, it's easier to criticize than to craft. So there's a lot of people that out there, they'll criticize you, they'll attack you, because you misspeak or maybe something comes off the wrong way or whatever the case is. But at some point, as a leader, as a human being, as someone who wants to enjoy life with less anxiety, because you'll never be free of anxiety, but less anxiety, you got to literally say, screw what other people think.
Yep. That's correct.
Have you ever had a moment where you were like, just like,
About someone that someone
yeah,
says something.
their opinion was just weighing you down too much?
Yeah, someone like you'll get them next time, like in the sense like you feel like you did really good and you feel like, all right, I executed it. Like, oh, it was all right, it was pretty good. Yeah, you'll get them next time, or like something like that, and then you're like, well, that's interesting coming from you.
It's kind of interesting. A lot of people, it's like people criticize pastors and they've never been a pastor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They criticize singers, but they've never been a singer.
Yeah.
They criticize doctors, but they've never been a doctor. So we've almost created this culture of criticism, and I'm okay with critique, which is to help people grow. But criticism is to minimize, demean, and belittle people, and that happens in our culture. So, and that's why you have to screw what other people think. Yeah. Like, at some point in your life, you're going to come face to face with a choice. Am I going to be a person pleaser or a God pleaser?
That's good.
I mean, the Bible talks about that. Paul said, if I'm trying to win the praise of people, I'm pleasing them, but I want to please God. And so at some point in your life, your ministry, your leadership, your position, you've got to make the choice that you are going to please God above all else. I think what ends up happening more often than not, we don't like to talk about it, but we do fall into the pattern of pleasing people. I mean, it happens. Nobody likes to say, well, I'm a people pleaser. If you live for the applause, you will also die by the applause, because applause comes and goes. Like, it doesn't matter what people think. Like, I've had to learn this. 29 years I've been pastoring, Jordan. 29 years of criticism.
Yeah.
From everything to, man, the guy wears skinny jeans. Oh, he wears flashy glasses. Oh, he had his Gucci belt on. And oh, this, oh, that's. And here's one of the things. I'll just throw it out there. Like, 4 times a year I do something, Jordan. 4 times a year. I manscape. I shave my, like I just did. Look at that. Come on, these look good.
Freshly shaven. Right?
Freshly shaven. Oh, missed a spot. Freshly shaven, right? So there's, it feels good. I like that. I like the clean feeling.
Yeah.
I shave my legs. That's crazy. I don't care what you think. I don't care if you want to be a hairy animal, be a hairy animal. Oh. I want to be clean, and I want, like, when it's beach weather, I want to walk out there, suck in my belly, push out my chest as far as I can push this little. I'm 52, but I'm still good. Because at some point, like, there'll be people, they would never tell anybody they shave their arms.
Yeah.
Because I really don't care what people think. Like, I care, but I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I care because, man, I don't want to offend you. I don't want to hurt you. Mm-hmm. But if it has no effect on you,
what does it matter?
What
does it matter?
My gosh, Todd Bishop shaves his arms and his legs and my back. It's interesting. Like, nobody complains, geez, he's going bald. Listen, if I could transplant all this and all this and all this here, I'd have like a full head of hair. I'd have an afro.
Look like
Aaron. Oh, man. That would be awesome. Imagine.
Why can't? I'm surprised I haven't figured that out.
I know, yeah. I don't want them to figure it out. But you think, like, there's people that, man, I care too much about it. As a kid, I used to care a lot about what people thought. Mm-hmm. Like, I started to develop ulcers and some other digestive issues as a result of always trying to make everybody happy. Mm-hmm. And what I learned is when you live to make everybody happy, you usually don't make God happy. Because more often than not, God's going to ask you to do something that people are not going to like. Yeah. Just not going to like it. And what people don't like, they have a tendency to criticize. Like, there's people, love them or hate them. There's people, with President Trump. There's people that love him. Mm-hmm. I mean, they literally, he could do the most criminal thing in the world and it wouldn't change their perspective. 34 felonies. Or you could take people that, he could cut all taxes and they hate his guts.
Still hate him. Yeah, exactly.
So no matter what you do, whatever position, whether president, a pastor, a leader of an institution, CEO, you are going to be criticized. Employees ain't going to like you. Teammates ain't going to like you. They're not going to like decisions you make. And you have to be okay with not making everybody happy.
Yeah.
I heard this said years ago, Jordan, you may have heard this. If you want to make everybody happy, go sell ice cream. I added to it later. If you want to make everybody happy, go sell ice cream and make sure you have dairy-free options.
There you go.
Then you make everybody
Everyone
happy. At the end of the day, you look at it and you're either going to play it safe by pleasing everyone, or you're going to take a risk and do what God's called to do. So, for example, when we first started our church, Church Unleashed, mychurchunleashed.tv, you should show up. When we first started church, we were one of the early churches to take youth ministry and bring it into our adult context in the New York metro area. Smoke machines, blacked out, flashing lights, all that stuff. We got criticized by everybody. Oh, they're watered down. They're shallow. They're seeker sensitive. They're all these things. Okay. You know, and none of it was true. But we just packaged the message of the gospel a little differently. Well, what's very interesting about that is that now, 17 years later, the churches that criticized us are doing the same exact thing we're doing today.
Oh my goodness.
Here's what I know. When you're a trailblazer or a pioneer, you're going to take more pot shots. Let me say it again. When you're a trailblazer or a pioneer, you are going to take more pot shots. And you better have a definite steel chin to be able to take all the shots you're going to get. If you want to blaze new trails for a new generation, if you want to make a difference beyond your current situation, if you want to make sure that a new generation is experiencing a new level of success, be ready. One of my pastors that I served under before, Paul Bartholomew, who passed away, was like a spiritual father for a long time. But he used to say this: leaders can never lead with a glass jaw, because you have to take it on the chin. And if you take it on the chin with a glass jaw, it always gets shattered. And so we as leaders, as Christians, as even non-believers, have to be able to say, man, I've got to care a little bit less what people think. If I'm doing the right thing, that's the key. Now, if you're just doing it to mess with people, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it because you know it's the right thing to do, then do it with everything you got. And it doesn't matter. You know, it's, you know, one of my friends, Joel Osteen, name drop. You know, it's, that was good, Joe, right?
It was good.
I shouldn't have said name drop, but it would just felt more natural. But one of my friends, Joel Osteen, there it is again. Joel Osteen. I know I'm going to lose viewers just from that.
Oh, no.
Because there's people that love Joel, people that hate Joel. There's people that love Todd, people that hate Todd. There's people that love this person, hate this person. If you ain't got haters, you're probably not doing anything. But one thing that Joel always talks about is how he had to stop listening to the voices of negativism. The people that are always negative. The negative about everything, because a negative mouth never produces a positive life. Let me slow that down. A negative mouth never produces a positive life. So you have all these people out there that go out there attack. News media is like that, Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, if it bleeds, it leads. That's an old slogan of newsprint media. It's always negative, negative, negative. You don't see too many championship moments, blah, 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 all that stuff. It's always going to be the negative side of it. Oh, storms here, or problems here, or difficult. Oh, this person shot up this, or this person that. You know, we've developed that into our own hearts. That negativity is actually normal, when in fact, negativity is abnormal to God's word. God's word says a merry heart, a cheerful heart, is like good medicine. In other words, joy or positivity actually becomes therapeutic to you. So when you're always hearing negative news, you're always hearing people bash people, you're always hearing people critical of people, guess what? That's going to sow into your spirit. Yeah. And then before you know it, you're going to become negative just like them. That's why you have to screw what other people think. Now, when I was writing this book, and I sent it off to the publisher, it was very interesting. They edited it, came back, and they changed that chapter. They changed the title of it, sent it to me, and it was literally, they changed it to Do Unto Others.
I remember that.
Jordan, how mad was I?
You were like, that doesn't even make sense.
It says in the opening line of that chapter, forgive me, but I'm a New Yorker. New Yorkers don't walk around saying, I'm sorry, do unto others as they'd have done to you. No, we say, screw what other people think.
Exactly.
Like it's a direct approach. I always say, what's the difference between a New Yorker that doesn't like you and someone in the Midwest that doesn't like you? Someone in the Midwest will stab you in the back. A New Yorker, we're going to stab you right to your face. That's what happens. I mean, it's literally like, is that not true?
It's true.
Like we're not going to play games. That's why I love people of faith in New York, because when you come to faith in New York, I mean, your life's radically transformed. I mean, most people wouldn't imagine, you know, like our church has grown to 1,600 plus people on a weekend. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
In New York, That's a rare story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because I've had this mentality, my wife and I, from day one, we're not going to allow what you say to determine what we do. Now, that doesn't mean we're not submitted. It doesn't mean we don't submit to our pastors when they bring correction or denominational leaders when they speak into us. But on the things that don't matter, meaning that they're not heaven-driven or taking us away from the focus of Jesus, it's an opinion. I don't really care what people, I'm going to do what we're supposed to do. Period. Period is what we do. And it's tough because if you really want your life to go in the direction that God's called you to do, you cannot live by what other people think about you.
Yeah.
Just can't do it. And I think sometimes what happens, Jordan, is we care so much that we do nothing. Why this person and that? Well, what's so-and-so going to think if I... You just got to do it. I mean, it's an old Nike slogan, just do it. It's been the same slogan for how many decades?
Yes, yeah.
You just have to do it. Like, yeah, but I don't, it might cause this ripple effect in my family. Listen, has God called you to do it? Jesus said, if you're not willing to leave father, mother, sister, brother for me, you're not worthy of me. In other words, if you're more willing to please people than the Father, you're not worthy to follow the Father. That's crazy.
That's so good.
Like, I can't live to please people.
Yeah.
Can't make everybody happy, because when you try and make everybody happy, you don't make anybody happy. And usually you live your life miserable. When we first started the church, Jordan wasn't here yet. He was a slow growth to us. But when we first started church, I would literally sit in a stool, Jordan, and I would teach from a little music stand. You remember the old music stands? The little black thing would come up and down, then slowly over time it would slide down. You're like, you have to pull it back up. But I used to teach, and I tried to be Rick Warren. I didn't know who I was. I was just, hey, everybody, welcome to the lead. And then at Point Community Church at the time, and then obviously then I became friends with Joel. And I was so fascinated by him, and I'm sort of like, hey, this is my Bible. I am what it says I am. I have what it says I have. Today I will be taught the Word of God. And I would do that. And I was like, man, that's not me either. And then when I drilled into who I am, a stone cold, fire breathing, wild kind of preacher. What do I call it, Jordan? Vein popping preacher. When I leaned into who I am, that's when our church actually started to grow. Because I was caring about what this person thought, or, man, I don't want to offend this person. They're a big giver in the church, and I don't want to hurt this person's feelings. Oh my gosh, I don't want to hear from my mom again. Like, oh, Todd, you're wearing jeans. You got another tattoo, son. Funny story, my mom, it's not funny, but she developed dementia, and, she passed away as a result of, obviously full-blown dementia. But she ends up, I go to visit her like maybe a month before she had passed, and I just got a fresh tattoo. She doesn't remember anything, but she grabs my, Todd Richard Bishop, is that a new tattoo? I'm like, Mom, I'm like 49 years old. My mom still noticed. No. You know what? And as much as I care about my mom, it was my choice. And so a lot of times what happens is people allow other people's opinions to determine their choices. So I just want to give you a couple of principles really quick to how you can screw what other people think. Number one, you got to know your priorities. What are your priorities? You got to know them. You got to know the priorities of your life. You got to walk in those priorities. For me, it's going to be God. It's going to be my wife. It's going to be my kids. It's going to be my friends. It's going to be my church. It's that order. That's how I'm going to process this whole thing. This is what it is. This is my priorities. Well, you need to do this. Well, I can't do that. I'm not able to do that because it messes with that priority. As a church, we have 5 focuses. We don't deviate from those 5 focuses. If those 5 focuses are not met, it takes us off our purpose. So we're making sure, hey, we're walking in our priorities. What's our priorities? So you got to know your priorities. You also have to set your boundaries. I mean, nobody sets boundaries today. In fact, most people don't have boundaries because of social media. We invite the whole world in to our lives, and they get a glimpse. They know where your kids are going to get ice cream.
Scary.
Scary world, right? Yeah. People aren't smart enough. They post all this stuff, post their kids' names, post this. We just had this discussion with our staff. I don't post much personal stuff. Most of it's church related. Why? I don't really care what you think of my personal life. Yeah. Like there's things like I'll give you an example. Like I won't tell you what, but I'll start watching a TV show. Oh, I love it. It's awesome. It's going. It's good. I will never tell anybody I'm doing it.
Yeah.
You want to know why? Because at some point, that TV show is going, room, crash down. So well, you're supposed to screw what other people think for the right reasons. But at some point, I can't do it and invite people into my circle, my boundary line, and expect them to be able to say, oh, he's processing whether or not he should be watching this right now. The moment I say I watched it, they're going to think it's okay to watch. And then before you know it, they're doing something in that show that they should not be doing.
Yep.
It's crazy, right? You have to set the boundaries. I don't bring people in. I don't get close to a lot of people. I don't give out my cell phone number anymore. I have a Google Voice number that I give out to people because I need to have some space because I don't want you to have so much access to me because familiarity breeds contempt. The more access you have, the more annoying you become. Did I just say that out loud? I think I did. The more access you have. So you got to be, when someone in your life gives you access, don't be annoying. Don't be annoying because here's what they'll do. They'll stop responding. They won't respond to your messages. They won't return your calls because you crossed a boundary with them. So if someone has the trust in you to give you their number, respect that number. Respect that number. Respect that space. Set up that boundary. So you got to know your priorities. You got to set your boundaries, and you have to evaluate often. You have to look back and evaluate all the time. Hey, is this healthy? Is this unhealthy? How am I doing in this? How am I measuring this? How am I accomplishing this? Because I have found, Jordan, that if I don't evaluate often, I'll be making today's decisions on yesterday's rules.
Ooh, that's good.
And the rules change in life very often. I'm not talking about, character and integrity, but rules change. I mean, the things that you used to be able to say 20 years ago, you can't say them anymore.
Yeah, a lot has changed.
A lot of things. Words that I don't even think are curse words, they're now curse words.
Yeah.
Like this thing, and there's things like I'm pretty vulnerable. Like anything I say publicly. Jordan knows that. Just about. Probably 99% of things, and so I'll say in church sometimes, "Oh man, doesn't that piss you off?" And there's always somebody in the crowd. Their face goes. I said, "Oh yeah, they must be from another church." And then at first that used to bother me because I'm like, oh my gosh, I just offended that person. And I'm like, today I'm so glad I offended them. Because they're going to be that religious person that criticizes everything you do anyway. So you're better off offending the right people because then you remove them from your life. And then God replaces them with the correct people that you need to grow and expand your life. So you always have to make sure that you know your priorities. What are your priorities? You got to be able to set your boundaries. And then you ultimately have to look back, reflect, and say, am I evaluating enough to where I can say, yeah, I'm still okay. And, it kind of grieves my heart because I have a lot of friends that have failed in ministry, that have served God faithfully, and then they made one bad decision. And Jordan, I think it's because they stopped evaluating. Screw what other people think is not, I'm not evaluating my life and making changes. It's I'm surrendering to an audience of one. And at some point, I think people that fail, they stop surrendering to that person and cared more about what that person thought. And that also always creates a culture of compromise. And so I think we've got to get back in the church and in Christian leadership to where if God called me to it, doesn't matter who I offend.
It's good.
I say a lot of direct things, Jordan. I talk candidly about human sexuality in church, publicly. I talk candidly about finances, talk candidly about gluttony and laziness and lying and cheating and, leaving work early and lying to your boss that you finished the project and you didn't. I talk openly about that stuff because sin is sin. As someone who teaches the Bible, I have to constantly remind myself every Sunday, screw what other people think. whether they catch it or not, one day Todd Bishop will stand before God and give an account for everything I said. And at that point, I pray I'll be able to say, God, I didn't care what anybody else thought but you. Because if you live to make God happy, it doesn't really matter who you make unhappy.
It's good, yeah.
That's why you have to screw what other people think. So, Jordan, I don't know how much time we have left. Do we have a couple more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so, I was out in Tennessee, recently, and my father-in-law, he doesn't care what people think, man. He says things, I'm like, man, I can't wait till I'm almost 80. Like, if I say it now, wait till, you know me now, wait till 80. It's coming off, man. No filter. It won't be the Toddcast. It'll be Toddcast unfiltered. And so, and he's kind of a control freak, kind of like me too. I think maybe that's what, Mary was attracted to, because it was similar. Because usually you have a similar attraction to your father that you had, because that's what you saw as respect and honor. So, So man, we're driving, and man, he stops in the middle of the intersection to tell us a story about pointing something out. He's in the middle of an intersection, and his wife's like, my mother-in-law's like, "Chow, you gotta move!" And so obviously he moves, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Drive. So we're all kept the whole trip. "Hey, do you want me to drive for you?" No, I'm good.
Oh no, poor Joe.
Yeah, poor Joe. So he ends up, we go to Pigeon Forge, and it was late, and he didn't want to drive back at night. And so he's like, "Hey, Todd, would you drive back?" I'm like, "Thank you, God." Drive back. 30 seconds into my drive, I get pulled over. I get a ticket.
It's crazy.
Here's what the ticket was for, Jordan. Unregistered vehicle. Now, that happens, right? It happens. 2 years ago, my father-in-law did not.
Not a few months.
No.
Not even
2 years.
2 years. He never got pulled over.
Never got pulled over in 2 years.
But you did.
But I did, after driving for 30 seconds. Anyway, real quick, because I know we want to keep on time with this, but I was like, oh my gosh. So we pull over. He's arguing with himself. He does not care about the officer. The officer said, it's all. Anyway, we get fined, get a ticket, pay it, whatever. All good. Why do I tell you that? Because one thing I'll always respect about my father-in-law, he stands by what he says. And he doesn't care if you like it or not. And you have to respect that.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think our culture has lost is the ability to respect someone else that you disagree with. That has made their mind up, I don't, this is my opinion. And here's what I know. Jordan, you are entitled to your opinion. Toddcasters, you are entitled to your opinion. Do not let anyone hijack your opinion because you want to make them happy. Do not live to please people, because you will be the most unhappy person on the planet. Live to please God, and watch how God raises your level of joy, of peace, of strength. So just a quick plug. You want to know more about that? Leadership Unleashed, toddbishop.tv, chapter 18, the Peyton Manning chapter. Screw what other people think. Here's what we want you to do, Jordan. What do we want people to do? We want you to, number one, follow. Hit subscribe. Right now, hit subscribe. Number two, what do we want them to do? Like, please. Click that like button. Hey, and if you got multiple accounts, go into every one of them and click like. Number three. Comment. Oh, man, we are Toddcasters. It's the worst. We need to hear from you.
Yes.
All right. We need you to comment. And then last, share.
Share it.
Share it with somebody. Post it on your IG. Share it on your TikTok.
So many people have been finding out from TikTok.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So thank you guys. I mean, we passed 4,000 subscribers. We're getting some good heat, moving in the right direction, but we still need your help, because our goal is by the end of this year to get to 10,000 subscribers. Help us get there and get our viewing hours up. And please don't just watch 2 minutes. Watch the whole episode. Yes. What else we got, Jordan?
That's it. Click the notification bell so you know every time we post on the channel, and tune in for next week. I think it's the art of the next question.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah.
You're going to want to hear this one.
Yeah.
A couple weeks, it's going to be live. So thank you guys for joining us on this month's episode, or this episode of the Toddcast, where we ignore all the others. Hey, whoa, wait a minute. Did you hear that? Screw what other people think!